The fluorescent lights flickered in the quiet hallway of Ridgeway Academy. It was nearly midnight, and most of the students and teachers had long gone home. The janitor, Daniel Carter, pushed his mop across the marble floor, his old sneakers squeaking softly against the tiles. His back ached, his hands were rough from years of scrubbing, but his face carried a gentleness that never seemed to fade. Daniel was a single father raising his 10-year-old daughter, Emily, on his own. His wife had passed away 5 years earlier, leaving him to juggle two worlds, working long nights cleaning classrooms and cafeterias while being both a father and mother to his little girl. Every penny he earned went toward rent, groceries, and Emily's school supplies. College felt like an impossible dream, but Daniel still told Emily every night, "You're going to do great things. Daddy believes in you." It was that belief that kept him going. The next morning, as students filled the academy's main hall, Daniel stood by quietly, emptying trash bins and wiping down lockers. He often heard the whispers. Students calling him the mop guy, or joking about how he smelled of cleaning solution. He never responded. He just kept his head down and worked, because Emily depended on him. One afternoon, however, everything changed. A group of senior boys lounged near the library doors, laughing loudly. They were the wealthy kids of politicians, doctors, and CEOs. They treated Ridgeway Academy like their playground. Among them was Tyler Grayson, the son of a powerful businessman. Tyler had a smug smile and the kind of arrogance that made teachers hesitant to discipline him. As Daniel passed by with his mop bucket, Tyler smirked. "Hey, janitor," he called out, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Want to earn more than your mop salary today?" The other boys chuckled. Daniel paused but said nothing, continuing to mop the edge of the hall. Tyler pulled out his phone and flashed the screen at him. It was an email written in a foreign language. "If you can translate this, old man, I'll give you my salary. 10 grand a month. Imagine that. But if you can't, you'll admit in front of everyone that you're nothing but a low-life janitor." The hallway fell silent. Students turned to watch, whispering. Some shook their heads, uncomfortable, but nobody stepped forward. Daniel looked up at Tyler, calm and composed. His eyes, however, carried a quiet fire. "What language is it?" he asked softly. Tyler sneered. "Don't worry about that. Just translate it." Daniel set down his mop, wiped his hands on his uniform, and took the phone. The email was written in Mandarin Chinese. For a moment, the crowd assumed he'd be humiliated. Then Daniel spoke. His voice, steady and fluent, rolled through the hallway in perfect Mandarin. He read the email aloud and translated each sentence into English with precise clarity. It was a business proposal regarding international trade agreements, something far beyond the students' understanding. Gasps filled the hall. Tyler's smirk collapsed. The other boys exchanged stunned glances. Daniel handed the phone back. "Anything else?" he asked calmly. The crowd erupted into murmurs. Some clapped. Others stared at Daniel as if seeing him for the first time. "Wait, how do you even know Chinese?" one student finally asked. Daniel looked at the boy and gave a small smile. "Before I became a janitor, I studied languages at university. Life didn't go the way I planned, but I never stopped learning. Knowledge is something nobody can take away from you." The weight of his words silenced the entire hallway. But Tyler wasn't finished. His pride had been wounded, and he wasn't about to let the janitor have the last word. "That doesn't prove anything. Maybe you memorized a few lines. Translate this." He quickly searched online and pulled up a legal document in Russian. Daniel's eyes scanned the text. He nodded once and began translating, this time into English, word for word. The cadence of his voice carried authority, as though he belonged in a courtroom rather than holding a mop. The laughter was gone now. Students looked at him with respect and shame for how they had treated him. Even teachers, who had wandered into the hallway after hearing the commotion, stood frozen in disbelief. When Daniel finished, he quietly returned to his mop bucket. "Your salary isn't mine to take," he said to Tyler, his tone firm yet kind. "But maybe one day you'll understand that respect is worth more than money." Emily, who had been passing through the hall on her way to class, had seen everything. Her eyes welled with tears as she looked at her father. She had always admired him, but in that moment, she saw him as extraordinary. That night, she hugged him tighter than ever before. "Daddy," she whispered, "you're the smartest man I know." Daniel kissed the top of her head. "I'm just your dad. and that's the most important thing I'll ever be." But the story didn't end there. Word of the incident spread through the academy like wildfire. Teachers who had once overlooked Daniel began treating him differently. The principal called him into the office the next day. "Mr. Carter," she began, "I had no idea you were so gifted. You speak Mandarin? Russian?" Daniel nodded humbly. "And Spanish, French, and a little Arabic. Languages have always been my passion." The principal leaned forward. "We could use someone like you. How would you feel about teaching here as a part-time language tutor?" Daniel's eyes widened. For years, he had buried his dreams beneath the weight of bills and responsibilities. Now, a door was opening that he thought had closed forever.